Let's look at the flow for the pharmacy and the store. To get started, let's sign in. After signing in, come to pharmacy. First, we have our list of medications. Right? Currently, there are just 2 items in stock. Now, the medications can be imported as well. So let's download the templates. Now, after downloading the templates and editing it, you click on Import. So when you go to import, it shows you the entry that you're about to import, right? And then you can click on Confirm Import to go ahead. But in this example, we're going to create a new medication directly. To do that, you come to Add Medication. You specify the medication name. A brand, and then a generic name as well. And you have a category, the dosage strength, the administration route, the quantity in stock, and then the reorder level, the unit cost. Now, the quantity in stock, that's how much of a units you have, right? The reorder level is at what point should the system prompt you to reorder for this drug, and then the cost per unit. Now, does this medication require a prescription? If it requires a prescription, it would not be available for the walk-in purchase, which we'll get to in a bit. All right. Once again, the generic name is required for the drug interaction checks. So make sure you enter that as well. This medication does not require prescription, and any notes here. Okay, so we have our medication. Now the system lets you check drug interactions, right? So for example, you click on interactions here and you see which drugs it interacts with and then the severity of that interaction, right? You can search for a particular drug. Yeah, and just to see that. So for your medications, you can edit, but when you're editing, you can change the reorder level and the unit cost, but you cannot change stock. So to change the stock, you either have to create a requisition and add new entry or add new stock that way, or when you dispense from the pharmacy, the stock goes down. So that is it for medications. You can search, you can also sort as well. For fluids, the interface is similar. You can create a fluid. You provide the name, the category, the unit, the quantity, the reorder level, and the cost. So you can also edit existing entries. So other units are milliliters and liters, the real level. Now you cannot update the current quantity. Once again, you're either in a requisition or you're dispensing from the missing. And when you're happy with changes, you can go ahead and save. Now, next we're going to look at the store. All right, so you have your store inventory. Now, for the store, the interface is the same as medications. You can import and export. You can also create new store items, right? But for the store, you can directly restock, right? So let's say we want to paracetamol restock. We enter the quantity. Let's say 100 units, 1,000 units, and the supplier. Now that's done. It's restocked. So was there any damage, any items in store where they damaged? You can record that as well. Let's say 30 units were damaged. Okay, you can record that as well. So just like the medications, you can search and you can filter as well. So if you come to inflows and outflows, you would see that paracetamol was restocked, right? And then timestamp for that. But you can also see that damage recorded. So that is specified as well. For the medication, you can filter by medications, and then you can also sort as well. Now, to move items between the pharmacy and the store, your requisitions. All right. So if we come to the pharmacy, we see that paracetamol is there's just 95 in stock, right? 95 units in stock. So let's create a requisition for that. Create a requisition. So your types of requisition are medications, that's regular, fluids, and consumables. So for medication, you create a regular requisition. You select the item, paracetamol, and the item in store. Right? Now, the reason you have a requested item and a store item is the store might request for, or the pharmacy might request for a particular medication. Now, the store does not have that exact medication, but it has, or the store has an equivalent, right? So that's why you select the item in the pharmacy and then in the store as well. You select the quantity that you're requisitioning for, and then any notes. You can create multiple entries for a single requisition. So let's do fluid, right? Now let's go ahead and create our requisition. All right, so now we can see the requisition have been made. So you can either fill a requisition or you can reject the requisition. Now, when you click on fill, you enter the quantity that you want to provide. So it is not required that the exact amount that was requested for is what is dispensed out. All right, so let's do 450 first. And now when that's done, it tells us that this requisition was partially filled. Right? It says that it was partially filled. And for the next requisition, we can reject, right? Or we can go ahead and fill. So we have 500 liters in stock. The pharmacy requested 100. Let's provide 100. Right. So because we provided the quantity that was requested, it shows approved, and this shows partially filled. So next we have consumables. Right. To create a new consumable, click on add new consumable, and then you enter name, the quantity in stock, the reorder level, the costs, and then any notes. You can also go back and edit as well, right? But you cannot change the quantity in stock. To change quantity in stock, you have to create a requisition. So next you have the walk-ins. So the walk-ins are, and this is for facilities that allow it, and this is for facilities that allow it or facilities require it. Say for example, the pharmacy also operates alongside the rest of the clinical flows. Now, to create a new walk-in, you click on walk-in, and you can search for a medication. So this only displays medications that are in the store. Right? It only displays medications that are in the store and medications that do not require a prescription. So if a medication requires a prescription, it won't show up here for walk-ins. So when that's done, you enter the quantity and then create. So now the bill is pending. Person can go to the cash point to make payments. So let's do that in the background. So now that has been paid for. So you can go ahead and hand out the medication. So once again, walk-ins are a facility that enables it. Otherwise, this module would not be accessible. So next we're looking at sync, right? So if you have items in the store that are not in the pharmacy, or you have items that are in the pharmacy but are not present in store. So rather than requiring that you go down and manually add of that, the system lets you easily do that. So sync page, we see that we have an item in the pharmacy but does not exist in the store. To fix that, you click on sync. It fills out the information for you. Let's give a quantity in stock. So you can always update it to the exact field you require. And you confirm, and you can go ahead. So now that medication is not present in the store. You can see that it's not present in the store. Next, you have your reports. So total medications, fluids, items that are low, and items that are out of stock. Right? You have your total dispensed value, paid and unpaid. You have stock movements. Right? You have your prescriptions and then top medications. So now let's look at prescriptions. Right? For prescriptions, you have a list of patients. By default, it would show just prescriptions for the current. But you can change that and then set it to show older prescriptions as well. Or you go back to a specific day. You can also search for patients as needed. And when that's done, you can click on fill prescription. So when you click on fill prescription, it shows you the patient's demographics, the latest vitals, any known allergies. And because the profile we're logged in as has the permission, so you can also view profile. All right, so these are the medications that were requested for by the doctor, or they were prescribed by the doctor, and then the fluids. So because the system can automatically create interactions, you have this notice here that no interactions were found. Right? You can always click check interactions to look at it in if you need to. You can print all labels. All right, you click on print labels and it shows you the labels for each medication. It shows the labels for each medication, or you print the entire prescription as needed. So click on print prescription to print the entire prescription for the patients. Right. Now, when you click on print prescription, it would also include the fluids. Right, so you don't need to worry about that. For individual medications, you can print the individual label by clicking on label. Right, when you do that, it will print the individual label for this medication. Now, you can click on detailed to view the details of the prescription, right? So any notes the doctor provided, and then the medication created, timestamp and created by, was modified by, filled at, and filled by. So in the event that the medication that was requested is not available in the pharmacy, or there is equivalent medication, you can click on substitutes. So click on substitutes. You can then search for the medication. And you can save the substitution. So once a substitution is done, the status changes to modified. The status changes to modified. You click on details. You can see the current prescription. That's the modified one. And you can see the original prescription as well. The system also tells you who made the modification and at what time. Now, when that is done, you can click on fill prescription. So it tells you again that the patient is uninsured. Right? So if your facility has different pricing for insured and uninsured, and it is not handled by the cash point, right? For most facilities, you don't need to update the pricing because at the cash point, when the person's insurance status is validated, yes, then they go ahead and update the unit cost. But you can also update it, and it's updated across board for everyone. Let's charge the patient now. So here you see that prescription has been filled and the payment ending. Let's do the same for the fluid, fill, and charge patient and fill. So let's look at the quantity. So in the event that the medication doesn't exist, is not available in the pharmacy's entry, so in the event that the medication is not in the pharmacist's inventory, you can go ahead and fill, click on fill, and then it tells you that the medication is not in pharmacy stock, but you can still mark it as externally filled. So this is saying that, say for example, the patient bought the medication elsewhere, right? Because it's not available in the pharmacy stock. So once you mark it as filled, the medication would show up, for example, for admitted patients. It would show up for nurses, and then they can go ahead and dispense the medication as needed. So bills for these patients, let's clear them in the background. All right, so the patients made the payment, and now the status changes. Right, status changes to failed, paid. So at this point, you can go ahead and hand over the medication, and that. Let's look at an example of filling a prescription in bulk. So in this case, you click on fill prescription, and you just select all the medications. Now you click on fill in bulk. Now you can also update the unit costs as well. or you can just directly enter the quantity. And you can charge and fill. So now the payment is pending. The payment is pending, and once the patient goes to the cash point to sort out the payments, it would update on your end, and you can go ahead and hand over the medication. All right, so let's do that in the background, and the patient will proceed. Yeah, so the patient has now made the payments, and you can go ahead and hand over the medication. So that covers it for prescriptions, medications, fluids, store, consumables, creating requisitions, as well as handling your inflows and outflows.